that 1930s guy here at the Lake Ronkonkoma Historical Society and Museum. Here's the building. Building was constructed 1929. Used to be a library originally. Now they turned into the Historical Society. Well, actually, I believe it might have even been something else before the library. But anyway, it's a Historical Society now. And they have a lot of interesting stuff. I did a video previously on Lake Ronkonkoma. Some of the many, used to be a big tourist town around this largest lake on Long Island. And it reached its height in the 1930s and 1940s. And it's also the town that I grew up in. And it's got a lot of interesting history, more so than most towns on Long Island. There was a famous actress who lived here at the beginning of the 20th century, and there was just a lot of tourism. And I'm going to take a look at some of the stuff they have at this museum, and then I'm going to show you some of the buildings from the pictures from the past and what they look like now. And here's one of Lake Ronkonkoma's most famous residents, probably the most famous resident, Maude Adams. She was a very popular actress in the late 19th and early 20th century. She had a house at Lake Ronkonkoma from 1897, sold it for $1 in 1921, but kept a residency where she could still live here if she wanted to. She had many houses because she was wealthy. But she was famous for playing Peter Pan. As you can see. She was a pretty big star. And this was her house, called the Cenacle. Still exists today. And here's one of her nice dresses. Here's an A&P that opened in Ronkonkoma in 1928, June 28th. That's my birthday too. Wow. Here's an advertisement they have here. Quality groceries, fresh fruits. And we'll take a look later at what's on that corner now. There's another place, Staub's Market. Judging by the prices, is probably a little after, maybe in the 40s. And Newton's Garage. This was one of the oldest sites, but unfortunately it burnt down to the ground a couple years ago, and it's no longer there. But this was the place to go for repairs in the 1930s. And here's some other buildings around Ronkonkoma. Here's a picture, looks like from the late 30s on a postcard. And that street, we'll show what it looks like today in just a minute. There's an even bigger picture there from slightly earlier. Here's the old Lake Ronkonkoma schoolhouse, unfortunately burnt down in 1946. Here's some old classes. Here's a teacher from way back in 1812. And he looks like a no-nonsense guy to me. Here's his report card from 1886. And one from probably the early 20th century at some point. A student named Ruth, who was never late. 0 lates and very conscientious in her studies. You had to learn safety, music, science, hygiene, drawing, writing. They skipped reading and social studies for some reason. History, spelling, geography, arithmetic, and English. All good grades. 85 was the lowest she got. Here's some old desks from the original schoolhouse. And they lasted 100 years. They were used from 1812 to 1912. That's pretty impressive. Try to make your desk last 100 years. But it wouldn't work. And here's what put Lake Ronkonkoma on the map. The train station. Shown here in 1937. It's pretty small, but it brought a lot of people from New York City over here. Today it's a little bigger. Here's the old main street of Lake Ronkonkoma. Central Business District. And this was the busiest place for commerce in the 1930s in this area. Some of these buildings definitely date back to the beginning of the century. I don't know if there are too many that are older than that. But it was really in the 1920s when it started really building up commerce in this area because of the lake. But there was always a residential population. There's a lot of nice, fairly wealthy people that lived here because of the lake. Here's a brick wall. It looks like that's been here quite a long time. Definitely older than the new bricks here. And right at this corner where this U.S. petroleum gas station was where the A&P supermarket was in the 1930s. Big supermarket chain, Atlantic and Pacific Tea Company. Was founded back in the 1850s, the company. And here's a department store that was a hardware store for the longest time. Now it's some kind of medical place. Cancer and blood specialist of New York State. But that is a very old building right there. And this is the sad spot where Newton's garage used to be. Lasted throughout almost all the 20th century into the 21st. Burnt down a couple of years ago, completely gone. Just an accidental fire. And there's still nothing here in this valuable real estate of this corner, because it's a busy corner. But as you can see, nothing left but ruins of one of Ronkonkoma's. It was actually listed, if I'm not mistaken, as a National Historic Site or some kind of official title, because it was so old. And now it's nothing. Just burnt Krispies. See something here. Maybe what used to be this kind of car lifting device. I don't know. Old bricks. Old drain probably right there. But yeah, real sad. I would have liked to have videoed the actual place. This was the lobby. You can still actually see the floor. The tiles, that's pretty neat. Something. Yeah. Nothing to see here but sad remnants. What is left of the cynical Maude Adams old place. Definitely been refurbished a few times probably. But it's still a beautiful residence. It's actually a place for retired priests now. Nice trees. Very nice property. And I shall end this video appropriately near the banks of Lake Ronkonkoma, which you can see here. Where the famous Green Pavilion used to be, Hollywood Pavilion, right in this corner of the lake. It was very popular. It's also one of the deeper sections of the lake too. And here, the steps to nowhere. Well, there is a park, but there used to be steps to a hotel. And you could definitely tell that these steps were built quite a long time ago. And it's just a reminder of the rich history of this town, which, if you haven't grown up on Long Island, you probably would think is very hard to pronounce. Ronkonkoma. But it's a wonderful place. And it's definitely interesting to any historian who wants to learn about it. Thanks for watching.